Hey everybody, so today I'm going to attempt to make my first, tutorial. This tutorial is going to be about how to make a cloth pad. Now the first and most important thing I want to start out with is your fabrics. So as you see, I have three fabrics here on my table. The first fabric I want to talk about is a topper fabric for your cloth pad. Now, this fabric that I have here is called cotton lycra, and it is a cotton fabric that is stretchy. Now, I really like cotton lycra. You can get tons of different prints for them. This is the print I'm going to use today. There are other types of fabrics that you can use. There's minky, there's cotton velour, there's bamboo, there's pique. There's a ton of different toppers that you can use, and I just recommend that you do your research, read about each one, and test them out for yourself to see which ones you like. Moving on to the core layer, or the second layer. I want to talk about is this right here is my core layer. Now this is called Zorb. It is the absorbent layer. There's a lot of good information out there about Zorb. I will put some in the comments. I highly recommend using Zorb as your absorbent layer. There are other things that you can use as an absorbent layer. There's bamboo fleece, I believe. You can use flannel. I sometimes like to use a layer of flannel or bamboo cotton along with Zorb. It just kind of depends on the absorbency that you want. This is the secret to your cloth pads, is going to be your core, and it's going to be this Zorb. Moving on to the last layer, which is the backer. This is soft shell fleece. Now this is kind of like a two-in-one. So on the one side, it's a really nice soft fleece, and this is the part that goes against your underwear. So this is going to be the back. Now there is another side to this that is like a wicking layer, and it's a waterproof layer. So essentially it will make your pads pretty much waterproof or leak proof. So this helps with not slipping on your underwear and to hold your pad in place. And then this side is what helps it also stay waterproof. So this is what I use as my backer fabric, and as we cut out the pieces, I will show you how they get laid out and sewn together, so you'll get a better understanding of how each one works. Okay, so a couple of other things that you may or may not need. You definitely need a stencil. So this is my cloth pad stencil. This is for a 10-inch, and this is my core stencil for my 10-inch. So you definitely need some kind of stencil for your pad. You can get this cheap off of Amazon. This is just a snap kit to put the snaps on your pad. Comes with everything you need, so I highly recommend getting one of these off Amazon, especially if you're just starting out. You will need a pair of scissors, something to trace around or mark with. You might need some clips and pins, just kind of depends. Sometimes you don't, sometimes you do. And then I just have this rotary cutter just in case. Okay, so the very first thing that we are going to do for our cloth pad is, yep, you guessed it, we are going to be cutting out our topper fabric. Okay, so make sure you have it on something that you can cut on if you need to. I have my cutting mats under here, so I'm just going to lay it out, my fabric, make it as flat as possible, and just kind of pick where I want. Some designs you can make sure you get where you want, position it how you want. This one doesn't really matter too much because it's kind of everywhere, so I'm just going to do that. And then sometimes I use this to kind of just hold it down because it's a little bit weighted. There you go. Now when I do this, I make sure I'm holding down like each section, just to make sure I'm getting the correct size, getting every bit and that the fabric isn't pulling or stretching. Take your time, there's no need to rush. All the way around. Okay, so it's a little difficult for you to see it on camera, but I can see it pretty well here. So what I'm just going to do is just very quickly, I'm just going to cut that piece out. Okay. There's our first layer done. Okay, so for the next part, I'm going to be cutting out our core layer. Take our core, lay it down on the fabric. And there it is. There's our core. Okay. So for this next step, we are going to be lining the core up to the middle of the pad. Okay, so now that the core is attached to the topper fabric, we are going to use our sewing machine and we're going to sew it to our topper fabric. Okay, so now for the fun part. We take our backer fabric. So we have our topper and our core. That's 2 fabrics, 2 layers. So here is our 3rd layer. Now the way I do this is, let me just get rid of this stuff here. Okay. I lay it with the soft fleece on the outside and the waterproof or smooth side facing this way. That I have that. I'm just going to take my topper and core that are sewn together and I'm just going to line this up the best I can so I can utilize as much space, or not as much space, I guess I should say. And we're going to lay it down, make sure it's all smoothed out, and then we're just going to cut that out. Okay. I'm gonna trim off some of the excess. Okay. And there's pretty much your pad with all of its layers. Now all we have to do is sew it together. Now, I'm going to be using my serger, so I'm going to get that out real quick. Okay, so I have my serger out and ready to go, and I have my pad here. Now, I'm going to start at the bottom, just like this. Lift up the pedal, and I'm just going to get going. If I can get the right pedal under here, hold on. All right. Now I'm coming to a curve here in the pad. It's going to be very hard for you to hear me speak while the serger is going, so I'm going to try to explain this as best I can, and you'll just have to watch because I'm still practicing, I'm still learning. But you want to move and manipulate the fabric because a sewing machine only sews straight, right? It can't move or bend. So you want to move and bend the fabric. So what we're going to do is we're going to manipulate it, move it around so it keeps a straight line. Just take your time, go slow, do not get frustrated. I promise you, at one time of another, every single person who's ever sewn a cloth pad with a serger, or who's ever used a serger to do any kind of curved sewing experiment, they struggled and got angry and got sad and got depressed. I promise you, they went through all that too, but eventually they got it. You will get it. Just practice, watch videos, learn, keep manipulating it until you get it. Go slow. Okay, now let's have a look at this pad, okay? Now let's get a little bit of a close-up here, because like I said, I'm still learning. Trying to make sure y'all can see it here. Now this is still completely usable, but obviously it is not perfect, which is okay. Okay, you're gonna have, you're even right here, see? Not perfect, but still usable, okay? What I'm going to do is I'm going to what they call tacking down the tail. Don't pull too tight, but you want to try to pull it just a little bit. I'm going to trim off all that excess. And then I'm just going to get an embroidery needle, thread it through the embroidery, and then we're just going to take it and sew it through these stitches. Just like that. Okay, cut off the excess. And there is your pad. Okay. Snaps. In your kit, you should get a little needle with a handle like this. It is very sharp, so be careful. What I like to do is just kind of fold it over my wings. Make sure it's pretty even, you know, good fold. Try to find right in the middle of the wing. Just kind of stab it. Try not to stab through the pad. Okay? And it's very hard. It's hard to see, but I got the two little holes. Now the fun part, picking out the colors. I think I'm gonna do this pretty little pastel purple. I think that goes pretty good. For the button snaps, you want 2 of these, one for each side, and then one of them is kind of like a little indent, and then the other one is like a plug. Okay, so we're just going to pop the flat part in, and then like the plug part on the other side. We'll just line up our handle, give it a good squeeze, and we're going to do it again, just to be sure. All right. And then you take the other backer piece, stick it in there, give it a good squeeze, and there are your snaps. And then we can test them out. Snap together, and then unsnap. And there you go. That is how, or hopefully semi-beginner's guide to making a serge cloth pad. If you have any questions, please feel free to comment. Thank you for watching, guys.